The following video may contain images that may be disturbing to some. Viewer discretion is advised. Previously on 12TitansKennels.
Down in the car, one time give it all, bust it open hard, let me see you drop. Get down in the car, one time give it all, bust it open hard, let me see you drop.
And I saw, you got various bites. So you can tell that she was on top of Bagheera, where all her bite marks are defensive bite marks to get her off. For those of you tuning in for the first time, I'm Erica, and for those of you returning, welcome back. Greg and I raise and breed Cane Corsos, French Bulldogs, Great Pyrenees, goats, chickens, ducks, and rabbits, all on our homestead property. We are proud homesteaders and preppers building a life and legacy of self-sufficiency. Don't forget, you can find us on our second YouTube channel called 12TK Behind the Scenes on Instagram, Facebook, and now we're even on TikTok. So when we're away, you can always find our updates. But before we continue, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. It really helps our channel grow, and it will allow us time to make even more of these videos. Let me take a look at you. All right, so she also has laceration on her right forearm. You can see this one is a good laceration. It's not very deep, but it goes pretty far across. I would say that's 3/4 of an inch, not quite an inch. And her leg was completely covered with mud, so yeah, it's absolutely contaminated. So the best thing I can do is flush this really good, put some antiseptic on it, wash it down with some soapy water just to get the grime off of it. So you can see that there's matter, debris in there. The puncture wound that she did to herself in her lip, I cleaned that up. She doesn't want me to touch it, but that'll be okay. That's not really, it's through and through. Her tooth had impaled her lip, so I needed to get that out. But this is probably the worst of it. I'll scan the rest of her body to see if there's any cuts. I've got to get to Bagheera because her ears are all chewed up. Fights with large dominant breed dogs. It's not usual here because we prevent them, but it's not unusual. And when they do occur, you know, they can do some damage within a very short period of time. She's got, you know, various scrapes here and there. I'll look further. Let me see this ear. This ear just has a little something on it. I don't see anything really major, but it is the lip that's bothering her. And I would imagine that's probably gonna puff up. But Bagheera got the worst of it. So let's go take a look at Bagheera. Okay, as you can see, Bagheera got the worst of it. So she's got head scratches, a lot of bite marks because Asha had her by the head. You can see the puncture wounds in her ear, and it's quite dirty because they were rolling around in the mud. It's raining out here. It's disgusting. Let me see. She's also limping, so she's probably got maybe a few lacerations on her arm, but mostly you can tell she was on the ground on her back being attacked about the head. Mostly the head, so Asha didn't have her neck, but see her her ears, they're starting to swell. There's puncture marks, lacerations of the head, and she was on her back fighting upwards, trying to get Asha off of her. She may have some things going on the bottom, because I know that Daft and Anita jumped in as well. I don't really see anything. It was fairly quick, but doesn't take long. Yeah, there's some puncture wounds right there. There you go. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty bad. So puncture wound, that's what's bothering her. That's why she's limping. All right, I've got to clean her up. I gotta first get as much dirt off of her as can, and then I have to clean her up, clean out all the wounds with some iodine, and then I'll assess. But these lacerations, they're not large enough that would require any stitches. They're pretty dirty, something like that, unless it was really, really bad. But unfortunately, or fortunately, they're not that bad, but they will have to remain open, and I'll monitor them. But first, I'll have to clean all of this up. Looks bad, because it is bad, but it could have been far worse if this was unattended. You can see, oh, she does have puncture marks on her neck. So Bagheera, you've caused a little bit too many issues. All right, let me get this cleaned up.
We'll be right back after this brief commercial, non-commercial break. In a perfect world, every dog would be eating a 100% raw diet, but the reality is that isn't always practical for some people. It takes a lot of time to prep, dedicated cold storage, and let's just face it can be downright messy. The truth is that even a small amount of fresh raw food added to your pet's diet can drastically increase their health and digestion. So making the experience more practical, less time-consuming, and overall easier was our goal. That's why we are now offering our raw dog food freeze-dried and in smaller portions. Excelling on taste, freeze-dried dog food can be used as a full meal for fussy eaters, or even a tasty topper on their kibble to add an element of variety to their meals. If you're ready to give your dogs the best raw food freeze-dried, no-mess meal, then head over to WASABIS Pet Store. Be sure to use the discount code YouTube10 for 10% off your entire order.
Okay, I'm going to use this betadine solution. It's an antiseptic that will help for minor lacerations, abrasions, or burns. That means bite marks as well, and minor. These are still considered minor. They're not enough that will require a stitch. If it was, then I would have to go ahead and stitch it. Let me show you what I have for that. Hold on. So this is a kit I have. Now, any vets out there, don't get upset because it's not clean. It's not, ready for prime time for operation, but I call upon this when I need to do minor procedures. And I actually have my sutures here. The sutures include the actual needle and the thread, and there are different types of threading that you can use depending upon what type of skin it is and where. So see this monofilament black, and like the different widths of it, depending upon, again, the nature of the wound and where about the body it is would depend on what would you use. So these are all options, but I'm just not going to do that at this point. It's not really necessary. I'm going to treat by using an antiseptic
But if I had to, I have what I need. And again, a fight between dominant dogs is not usual around here, but it's not unusual, meaning we try to prevent that. But it is going to happen if you have multiple dogs, if you have dominant breeds, if you have, you know, when you introduce, it can happen. And literally within minutes, this occurred. So if this was unattended, it would have been a lot more damage and possibly get to a point where it's fatal. All right, so like I said, I immediately put the phone down because the intent is to stop the fight. I wasn't really interested in let me get this on camera. So as soon as I saw it break out, I put my phone down. Had my phone been like on a GoPro or anything, maybe I would have caught it entirely so you would see what it is, but it's not really necessary. You guys get the point. It was a big fight that resulted in one of them getting the worst of it. So I'm actually in Bagheera's cubby. I went ahead and disinfected it really good. Bagheera typically has shavings in her cubby because she is a bed killer. Some of the girls are disciplined, whether it's in the nursery or in the honey hut, to have beds, and I mean really good beds, and they won't destroy them. And while others are just bona fide bed killers, they'll chew the stuffing out of everything that they're given, pillows, and even the beds that just kind of like are just benches that they can sit on top of it, they will destroy that. So we either give them shavings, sometimes hay, but not often hay, because hay sometimes carries parasites in it. But either a formal comfy bed or the shavings. Bagheera is a bed killer. So I had to clean out all her shavings and really scrub in here and disinfect because she does have open wounds. And since I'm going to get her on antibiotics and a spray, she probably needs a cone of shame because she keeps licking them now. Let me show you her head. She's steaming because I washed her. I washed her all up, cleaned out all the wounds. You can see she's steaming, literally. I've got a few major ones to worry about there. But I can't risk shavings or any contamination. So I'm going to keep dressing the wounds and see what happens. But I doubt, because of where that's at, I will give her a stitch. But I'm going to watch it. It's pretty stretched out now, but you can see the bite marks about her head. Anyway, so I am going to give her some blankets and a towel so that she can be comfortable. I'm sure she is very sore, obviously. She's not happy. She's kind of slumping over around Anita. So I'm going to make her comfortable and give her things that she really can't chew up, or I should say are disposable. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to give her a big comfy blanket from the house. I'm going to bring that over and keep her comfortable. And so, yeah, she'll be fine, but I had to really clean well in here so that, again, I don't contaminate any of her wounds at this point. There. Now try not to chew this up, okay? We don't want to have to do the shavings. Yeah, there you go. Is that better? We got a little pillow. All right, baby. Is that good? There. Don't lick the wound, please. All right. I've got her wrapped up like a burrito, so she should be okay for a while. I gotta take care of everybody else, get back to Asha, and then I'll come and see you. There, okay? And speaking of bed killers, here's Anita on her second bed. She made a point of chewing up the first one we gave her. Not as bad as Bagheera does, but enough for me to want to change it out. She's pretty melancholy. After the fight, it looks like everybody at the nursery just wants to hang out and chill. They don't really want to do much, and that's okay. So I have this book here, along with all my other textbooks, which has become invaluable, actually. I wish I had this 10 years ago, but I just learned as I went along. And of course, now that I'm in formal study, this is really good. So most people recognize amoxicillin if you have children, because at some point in time, your children will probably have a scrape or have some type of ailment. I'm just using this as an example of really understanding the indications and contraindications of these medicines that are prescribed by vets, being able to understand exactly what it will fight and work against versus what it will not. And so I'm going to go ahead and give Bagheera the amoxicillin. So one thing about being a breeder, and not just a breeder, if you're going to have a small farm with all types of animals and livestock, you really should understand basic animal husbandry, especially if you're a breeder, obviously. If you don't understand, if you're not seeking to learn it, then how can you possibly do the best job you can, unless you rely completely on going to veterinarians and spending all types of money and just whatever they say goes. You really should understand the anatomy, the physiology, the psychology, all of that regarding your dogs, your cats, in our case, your goats and rabbits and chickens and ducks, because it makes a difference in terms of our care. And so I've got a host of these books, but this one is a really good one, and I thought I'd just share that little tidbit with you. Hey YouTube, I'm taking a moment to give you a quick update on the aftermath caused by the tornado. Listen to this for a moment. The National Weather Service confirmed that there were actually 3 tornadoes on the ground simultaneously in southwest Spalding and northwest Pike counties. And even more astonishing is that the tornadoes were part of a larger, what they call mesocyclone, which can be traced back to the Selma, Alabama tornado. Apparently, it reached wind peaks of 145 to 150 miles per hour, and at one point crossed Highway 92 and severely damaged numerous homes and businesses, such as the Hobby Lobby, which looked like a can opener separated it from its roof. The damaged area in West Griffin alone is approximately 2 miles wide, and officials are saying that at least 1,400 homes were affected, with 250 plus suffering major damage or ultimately destroyed. The devastation wasn't really apparent to us until we started driving around the community. The amount of uprooted trees is mind-blowing. Many have been moved out of the roadways, and it's clear that they're slowly being cut up and removed, but this is going to be a long process. We also noticed that the community center that's next to our store named WASABIS is giving out food and provisions. So considering how bad this was, I barely see any real mention of it on the news, if any, mostly online. And just to remind everyone, we do not live in a traditionally tornado-prone area. It's like our town is really on their own. Now, the reason I bring this back up is to underscore 2 points. First, we were extremely blessed to have minimal damage to our property. That's a major blessing we cannot take for granted. The power outages were mere annoyances compared to our neighbor's entire landscape being wiped away. So we thank God for his favor. Secondly, I cannot underscore the importance of looking for ways to stock up and become just a little bit more self-reliant. You just don't know when you'll encounter some unforeseen force like this. So our hearts go out to everyone in our community that was impacted. But I have to be honest, when I heard that the Hobby Lobby and other businesses in that area were hit, my first reaction was, oh my Lord, is Marshall's and the dollar store still okay? And yep, whew, thank God, both are still open for business. They have built a whole entryway so that we can get our dollar stuff, our $1.25 stuff. Now open. Come on in. It wasn't open when the last one came. Well, yeah, it was all boarded up. You could come in, don't worry. The roof won't cave in. Look at that. Wow. Okay, it's time to tie up another loose end from the previous video. Now, let me set the mood. Do you remember this? Check out Daft over there. Have you noticed anything? Well, she is flagging hard and pretty much throwing it on the new stud. Look at her coming over here. Hey, Mom, what's going on? This seems boring, so let me get back to my new boyfriend. Hey, buddy. Hey, now. Check me out. Hey, boy. So if you haven't already guessed, Daft is in heat. Alright, so I was having a bit of fun to change the mood up a little bit. Clearly, not everyone was at war. There were a few that truly wanted nothing but peace and blessings. So finally, Daft has gone into heat, and it's time for us to do a progesterone test to guesstimate when she'll ovulate. A quantitative progesterone blood test is the single most accurate method for timing breedings. The test is usually reported as a numeric result in nanograms per milliliter. Combined with observing the behavior of the male and female, as well as looking at the vaginal cytology of the female, ovulation can be pinpointed with great accuracy. In the case of Bagheera, if you recall, I performed an artificial insemination, but I did not perform a progesterone test. And as a result, she did not become pregnant. So I've already drawn Daft's blood, spun it in the centrifuge to collect the serum, and then I added the serum to my test strip. I do all of this myself in my own clinic. Self-reliance. Excuse me. Anyway, the machine will analyze the serum and give me a readout of Daft's progesterone levels. Based on the test, looks like Daft is at 9.26. I'll use my charts to determine when we should breed her next. At Daft's current levels, ovulation is either occurring or close to it, so the best time to breed her will be in 48 hours. And we finally decided who we'd breed her to. And no, it was not the new guy with all the tongue action.
Let me see you try.
Well, we've again come full circle. And what did I tell you? Bagheera is a bed killer. Goodbye pillow, nice knowing you bath mats, arrivederci fleece blanket. It was fun while it lasted. At least it made Bagheera feel comfortable through the healing process, because those first few days were rough. She barely moved around, just enough to eat and eliminate. But it looks like most of the puncture wounds and gashes and bite marks are all scabbed over now. More importantly, we avoided infection by constantly cleaning out the wounds and administering a daily dose of antibiotics. As for the relationship between Bagheera and Asha, well, we'll have to work through it. But Asha did ask me to give Bagheera these words of wisdom from Asha's crush, Cardi B. Here goes. Everybody wanna be a gang, ain't no spots left. Bad bitch contest, it wouldn't be a contest. Ooh, smoking dope, I'm connected. I don't know what's longer, man, my block list or my checklist. I don't know what's colder, man, my heart or my necklace. Pretty when I wake up, I'm a bad bitch at breakfast. Still, might slide on a op, it's electric. Oh, and bitch. Thank you again for tuning in and following us on our journey. If you appreciated the video, leave us a like. Feel free to share your respectful thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell. And as always, we'll see you in the next video. Next time on 12TitansKennels.
Girl, did you hear about Asha? Nah, girl, spill the tea, spill the tea. Well, rumor has it she got knocked the F out. What? Yeah, girl. By who? Bagheera. Really? I didn't think her soft behind could cash in those checks she be writing. Well, nobody's seen or heard from Asha in over a week. There's even reports she's in a wheelchair. What? Let me call my girl, cause you know, me and her go way back. Bring. Bring. Hello? Asha, you alright? They said you went blind and deaf. Bitch, how can I be deaf if I'm on the phone with you? Girl, I'm so sorry to hear about your beatdown. Bitch, when I finish serving my time, I'm coming for you and the rest of those hood chicks.